Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Preview, where we're getting stuck into the final couple of days at York's. Welcome to Yorkshire Ebor Festival. Sad times, we're already halfway through. But been great stuff on the Knavesmire so far, and we've got 4 races from each day to cover for you, including, of course, we'll start with the features each day, and then we'll get the best bets in there as well. Steve Jones is with us. How are you, Jonesy? You all good?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Yeah.
How's the value rater column been going?
Oh, a bit unlucky, yes. Well, not unlucky, but I had 2 12-to-1 shots that finished second. So, but could be worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, 13.0. You'll get there, mate. Don't worry. Keep going. Deasy, how are you? You've hit some crossbars, mate. You one of your best bets landed yesterday. Tweet 8.0 is a great shout.
Yeah, she was very good. She pissed up. In fairness, I was very happy with that. Now, hopefully, people managed to stay on until 59 minutes 58 seconds when I gave the tip. Forgot to put her in the Tuesday best bets, but it was good to have a winner.
I was in a bar and somebody watching that one, and somebody said, because I'm only doing the morning show for Racing TV, and somebody said, "Oh, have you backed anything here?" And I went, "Yeah, I quite fancy tweet," and I didn't even back her, but everyone thought I was an absolute hero. It was great.
Yeah.
The best bets flew yesterday, actually. Tweet, and then Mishriff. We were very much Team Steve on Mishriff. Went off at 3.25. Lovely stuff. Officially, that was Rixie's best bet. My best bet, Hurricane Ivor, I thought was going to win, but was placed 8.0. And Rixie and I managed to find Year Beer at 7.0. And then today, it was tricky. Today was not. To be fair, we didn't really have a go at the Yorkshire Oaks, but everything else, it was a tough day. You hit the crossbar, I know, Deasy, with a couple, but yeah, not so much to shout about today. There we are. That's how it goes. Right. Let me remind you about the ongoing offer. First of all, it is for new customers only, and it is 0% commission on all sports for 30 days from when you sign up. So all sports. Don't forget, we're kicking off with the Premier League season. We've got lots of great racing action coming your way as well. So any sport you want to bet on with Matchbook is 0% commission on all sports for 30 days. Use the bonus code INSIGHTS for that, and you'll be getting most likely best odds there because it's an exchange anyway, so you're likely to. And then without any commission, you are very, very likely to be getting best odds. So there you go. 18 plus, be gamble aware. Make sure you use the bonus code INSIGHTS. Right. However you are watching us, please do let us know that you like what we do. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. That is if you're watching, or if you're listening, just leave us a review on iTunes or on your preferred podcast app. If you're doing so on your phone, let us know what you think, because that helps. And there'll be a recap of all the bets on insights.matchbook.com. So one of those each day, a column each day, including the best bets and any other bets as well. Insights.matchbook.com. If you're, a few minutes into this and think, "Stop this, I'm just going to read them," you can always do that if you want. But why wouldn't you want to hear the dulcet tones of Stephen Jones talking about the feature on Friday? First of all, that is the Nunthorpe. Hello. Swayzer is 4.0. Golden Pal is 4.1. Not having that. Winter Power is 7.8. Dragon Symbol 6.6. Winter Power 7.8. And then we get stuck into the bigger prices, and big prices have won it in the past. I'll give you those prices if anybody wants to put them up. We kick off with Moskill and Arecibo, both 28.0 and 29.0 respectively. So, Steve Jones, take it away. Who are you backing and why?
Well, first of all, there's so much pace in this race. It's untrue. But the funny thing is, most of it is drawn towards the far side. Golden Powers in 1. I don't always think it's a great place to be on the wings at York. And 1, I wouldn't want to be in 1, to be honest. But then there's a lot more pace in there. Emirati Allen's in 9, and there's just so much of it. Liberty Beach and various others. And this is what the only negative I see with Sueza is that she's drawn 14. But I think William Buick knows what he's doing to be able to get across and track the pace, and hopefully. And she looked very good at Goodwood. She looked exceptional, I thought, at Goodwood when she beat Dragon Symbol, who's also in the field again. But I think he's the sort of horse that wants either a stiff 5 or a sharp 6. And this is a very quick 5. I don't see him being able to lay up there. And in Sueza is won by 3 lengths last time. The only time she's been beaten was on terrible ground over 6 at Ascot in the Commonwealth. She's because she's French, obviously, or trained in France, she only really generally runs on soft. But I've looked at her, and you know what? I think she might be even better on fast ground. And with this toe into the race, I mean, I'm not surprised she's 4.0. I can't have Golden Pal. It's all the hype again, isn't it, with these Wesley Ward horses? You tell me, unless you know what you're dealing with in American form, her second to the Learjet last year in the Norfolk Stakes at Ascot, I mean, that's not good enough. So, bigger prices. I thought the one I was tempted by at the bigger odds, I'm not going to suggest backing her, but I think at much bigger odds, I wouldn't be surprised if she ran well. As Kay Amora, who was second to Batash last year, been badly out of form this season, but going back to York, where she's got an exceptional record, I'd be interested in it. I might throw a few quid at her at big odds, but Suessa, I think, is really, really smart, and I think she'll win.
Do you want me to put you down for a bit of Kay Amora? Because she is my sort of outsider. No.
If you're going in as well, Tommy, I cannot help but follow you because you're my hero.
I know. You're slowly modelling yourself on me. Quite right too.
Hearing your breakfast menu this morning, was it? You were before we went on air. You was telling us that what you had for breakfast was avocado and quinoa and dragonfly wings. And I knew Deasy had a good day yesterday because he said Canastella, and usually it's Foster's. So I knew he had a good day.
He's going up in the world. Kay Amora, I agree. I think is worth a bet at the prices, and he's a big old price as well. Into on the day, I think you'll be getting 41.0 and perhaps pricing up on that. But Jonesy, I disagree with you on Golden Pal. I think this horse is tailor made for the race. I think Golden Pal, he would have won at Ascot if Andrea had been a bit more familiar with the horse, perhaps. I think the stiff 5 at Ascot probably caught him out. I know the Learjet's not formed to go mad about, but I just think this track is perfect for him. And I'm surprised he's not clear favourite because I do worry about the ground. It was a staying performance over 5 for it's a flying 5 that she won, and I just have a slight concern if they ride her like that here, that whether or not she'll get into it. It's so hard on the straight track to make up the ground. So I'm against you, Jonesy. I'm against Swayze. I'm with Golden Pal and Frankie Dettori and Wesley Ward, who want to make up for that disappointment of a few years ago when Marsha just beat Lady Aurelia. And I'm just surprised he's not Fav. He's a speedball. I think you'll go off favourite. So I think you could have a lumpy go now at 4.1 or whatever it is, and maybe get out a little bit further down the line. The other one I want to back to sort of cover that is mainly in the place market, Kay Amora. So there you go. Can you split us up, Deasy? Who's right out of Jonesy and I? Or you're looking elsewhere anyway, aren't you? You think we're both wrong?
I do. I'm going for another fast filly. I'm going for Winter Power. She has won twice at the track this year on good ground. Her winning the listed race in May, it's actually, I think we were talking to Adele after. She said that all the jockeys came out and they were just saying she was amazing, just how fast she was. They didn't quite have it, I think, at Ascot behind Oxted, but look at what Tim Easterby has done. Tim Easterby has had 4 runners at York this week. 2 of them have won at big prices. The other one came second and one came nowhere, but he was the triple figure price. So they're obviously peaking this week. I think there are negatives against the front two. I swear that she won in absolute glue at Goodwood. I think that was the last day. There was sticky ground. She was the only one that handled it very well, and I wouldn't be sure that she might handle this. I just think Winter Power, there's a lot in her favour, and I'm happy enough to have a win-only bet on her. And the other one at a big price, I would give a little shout to is Emiratiana, Kevin Ryan's horse. He is going to be, I think he's about 41.0. Found the winning touch again last time up in Hamilton at Dubai against Dubai Station. he's just kind of. I think he's running back into form. He's rock solid. I mean, he's been in the first 3-4 times this year. Again, he's a big price. You might get 3 or 4 places on this. So I'd have a little place bet, a small win on him as well.
There you go. In the main, we're putting up the first 3 in the betting in the Nunthorpe, which is sure to piss off some people. And then we'll be like, oh, we found the winner in the Nunthorpe. And then they'll be like, well, you put up the first 3 in the betting. And we'll be like, no, so what? But I suggest rather than having all 3 on side, you're going to have to pick your favourites here, people. You're going to have to choose. It's a personality contest. Do you believe in Jonesy, in Deasy, or in me? And just pick a side and stick to it. Don't you think, Dees?
Yeah, but listen to me.
Quite right. So that's our Nunthorpe thoughts. Do we want to add anything else, chaps, before we move on from the feature? Good, kick on. Right. We're going back to the start of the day. This is the 150. We've got a 1.5 mile handicap. The progressive wink of an eye is 5.5. State of Bliss is 9.4. Strawberry Rock 11.0. 11.5 for My Frankel. 12.0 Johnny Drama. Dark Jedi 13.5. I'm not going to give you any more. We're just into the bigger prices off the back of that. And again, if you put up one of those at a chunky price, then I will give you said price. Steve, I'll start with you again. You're with a bit of Johnny Drama, are you?
Well, you like a bit of drama. You're always a drama queen. So I thought I'd go for Johnny Drama. Now, the Nunthorpe, they're all spread across the track. They're all going to go as fast as they possibly can. We got more runners in this race. How many runners are there? 18 runners. There's no pace in it. Very little pace. I think that'll suit Johnny Drama. He's proven on the all-weather that he can quicken off a slow pace. He's still lower in the handicap on turf than he is by £4 than he is on the all-weather. So, yes, he can quicken off a slow pace or an ordinary pace. Yes, he's well handicapped. Track form, yes, he won the John Smith Cup when they didn't go a huge gallop. That was over 1.2 miles. He's won over 1.5 miles the trip of this race several times on the all-weather. So distance is no problem. The ground was way too soft. He was at Goodwood. He ran on the Tuesday when the ground was terrible. He still ran well. He still ran in 4th. I just think he's got a lot going for him, this horse. I think he says 12.0. I think that's a really good price. I know he's got to give a lot of weight to progressive horses like Wink of an Eye. But if my reading of the race is correct and they don't go very fast, that is going to count against Wink of an Eye in a big way because he likes to be held up at the back and come with the run, and he might never get into it around here at York. So Johnny Drama, I think, is a good bet.
I agree with you on the lack of pace, and for that reason, I wanted to have State of Bliss on board, who I think obviously Frank the Wink of an Eye form. But I can see out of 18, Nicola Curry, I know was ridden patiently last time, but I think she'll be aware of that and not wanting to get too far back. And I'm always half wary of Shergar Cup form, but I thought that was a pretty smart performance, and I like that Nicola has kept the ride. So I want State of Bliss on side. I know on the face of it doesn't look well drawn in 18, but horses have won this from 15, from 17 in the last few years, and I think the key is that he shouldn't have too much trouble getting handy. But I do think Wink of an Eye is worth having on side, particularly if you're getting a bet in the place market as well. So I struggle to see him out the frame. I take the point about a lack of pace, but the form is so good last time. It's just so progressive, and I couldn't be that confident about. There were so many others that I could pick holes in, whereas this horse is just so progressive, and because he doesn't do much when he gets to the front and doesn't often win by much. I mean, he's only gone up £4 from last time, even though the form's been frank. I think he's definitely still a well-treated horse. So I still want Wink of an Eye on side. DC.
I actually have the race post open here, and Johnny Jam. I just jumped 2 places in the betting while you were talking about him. So one of you is after having a few bob on there. I picked out 2 at prices in this now. The first one is Scarlet Dragon. She finished 7th in the Ebor last year, but ran very well, quite an eye-catching run. I don't think that he stayed the trip. So he's running here off 98 now. It hasn't been an amazing year for him, but I think that the drop back in trip, like we know he handles the course, that could be in his favour. He's about, what is he? He's about 20, is it 21.0? Yeah, I'll have anyway. Look, this is his time of year. I can see him.
Yeah, giving you a nod there. Go on.
Yeah, I can see him hitting the frame. And the other one is Brian Ellison's horse called Cormier. Now, Cormier actually came onto my radar as a hurdler when he beat Favour, a Dan Skelton horse at Utoxeter, and he beat him very well in a very fast time. So he's been in my tracker since then, and I've been keeping an eye on him on the flat. He's won twice this year, just doing enough. He hasn't really gone flying up the handicap. He started the year rate of 69. He's running here. He's up to, he's up to 79 here now. He's way down the bottom of the weights here. Again, he's a double figure price. I think there's definitely a few more pounds up the sleeve there, and I can see him running a big race as well. So I'm just going to have the two of them small win in place.
The two of those are Scarlet Dragon and Cormier at decent prices. I'm with Wink and I stay at Bliss, and Steve is with Johnny Drama. Right, we move on to the return of Stradivarius in the Lonsdale Cup. It's great to see him. It will be great to see him back. He's 2.32. That's definitely going to tempt some in. Spanish Mission is 3.65. Trushan has to be a doubtful runner. Is a 3.85. Stratum 16.5. The Grand Vizier 48.0 outsider of the bunch. I just don't want to have a bet in this because Stradivarius is actually half tempting, but he's the profile of the horse I really don't want to back. So I'm on the fence, and then you two can have a boxing match about Stradivarius or Spanish Mission. Starting with you, Dees.
Right, so if you're a really sick individual, you can actually place Stradivarius in this, because I think maybe this is a season too far from. I think they probably bottomed him last year. Hasn't really looked the same. He wasn't great last time. He was pulled out then the race after that. Spanish Mission, I think, is very, very progressive and is almost certainly going to be going to the Melbourne Cup. I think that's kind of the long-term plan with him. He would be the bet if you were doing a win bet, but I would also have a small place lay on Stradivarius, just because if Trushan and Spanish Mission are going past him, I don't think Frankie is going to kill him, because he owes him nothing. And a place there on him, I mean, you could be getting 1.5, something like that, for him not to finish in the top two. So you could have a small bet on that. But the main bet would be Spanish Mission. He won at the course earlier in the season. I think he's very progressive. Trushan, I don't think Trushan, I think he might be a soft ground horse. Mightn't suit him tomorrow. Stratum isn't good enough, and Grand Vizier is neither. So Spanish Mission for me, and a small lay bet or place lay bet on Stradivarius.
Yeah, brutal soul.
Yeah.
Of course, you got no heart. No heart, DC.
It's a horse, like, who cares?
You wouldn't be place laying. Well, you're with the Strad, Jonesy, are you? At that price, 2.32.
He's disgusting, man. He is a disgusting man.
He's not my horse. Like,
it's not mine, but people are so quick to dismiss this horse for some reason, and I just cannot understand it. He's probably, if he's not the greatest, he is undoubtedly one of the great stayers ever. And getting stuck in traffic when trying to win his 173rd Ascot the Gold Cup at Royal Ascot, and people are trying to chop him down. I mean, he had no chance in that. He wasn't stuck behind one horse that was coming into his lap. They were both coming into his lap, and he had no chance for Subjectivist. He still finished a couple of lengths. Despite all that traffic, he still finished a couple of lengths behind Princess Zoe. And although I think Princess Zoe is pretty ordinary, Dees thinks it's somewhere near Frankel, or maybe a pound below Frankel. So
do you think he would have won, Steve? Do you think he would have won without the traffic problem at Ascot?
Absolutely impossible to say. Yes, he would have won. No, he wouldn't have won, because he had no chance. You can't, even a horse with a turn of foot like him, for a stayer, cannot cope with traffic problems like that. And before that, he'd won perfectly effectively at Ascot. He's he's been to York about a dozen times and won about 20 times. He's that good. He can do all manner of things. And I think he'll win tomorrow. And people will say, oh, he only won by 3 lengths. Intrusion didn't go on the ground. And he's just still head and shoulders above everything else. So the chance to back him at whatever he was, 2.3 or something, there's a lot worse horses that will run at that price.
He is 2.32. He definitely, even with a clear run, wouldn't have won Ascot. But he's gonna. Do you know? I'm leaning towards you, Jonesy. I've got to say, given that, he is a tempting price. We know the track suits. I get that, but I'm just not brave enough. So there you go. You might both be wrong, but let's hope not.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We were both wrong in that 5:20 race, but I finished ahead of him, and I finished 4th, and he finished 6th. Small victories.
Good. What won it? I've had a bet in there. What won it? What won it?
It's the Lordship Stud horse, whatever that is.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Right. Anyway, no, this is
sweet enough.
Form of the word. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I followed Racing TV colleague Dave Neverson in there. That was the one I had. There you go. Good times, everybody.
See, he's even lucky when he doesn't know what he's backed. I don't think I'm back.
He told. Right. Anyway, what an awful form of trying to watch live racing through us watching it on a live preview the following days. Let's move on to the Gimcrack. This is I think this is a very interesting, potentially very good renewal. So, Lusail is 3.35, Berkshire Shadow is 4.6, Fearby is 6.4, Vintage Claret's 9.6, Orazio 12s. Then we get into the 15.0 shots with Eldrick Jones and gives a sub. What I'll come back in if I can, because I set the last one out, and I just think Lusail is the best of these. For all he's rated £1 inferior to Berkshire Shadow. I feel that I'd have a slight concern about 6 here for Berkshire Shadow, given the way he ran last time. He looked to stay at the 7, to be honest, for all he's sharp enough to win over 6, but that was a stiff 6 at Ascot. I'd worry about the 6 here for him. I'd worry about it another way, really, for Fearby. Shows a lot of speed, and this is a first go up at the trip. And then I just don't think the rest are good enough. The sales from the July Stakes has been franked by Asymmetric and Ebor River. We know it's really good form, and I think he should be further clear at the top of the betting. And the 1+ last time, the one niggle I had was that he had to prove he handled really quick ground, and he did. Pretty sure the Hannon team think he's very good, and they've got Armour as well as a very talented horse. But I know they think a lot of this Lusail. And I actually thought it'd be a bit shorter at the top of the betting. I think 3.5 is really fair, and I think he is pretty comfortably best of these personally. Who agrees with me? Jonesy?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good insight there, Tom, that they think a lot of a horse that won a Group 2 last time out. I was expecting them to say, no, we don't really rate him very much. But
he's a tosser. The thing is, it's so I do know somebody that works at the Yard very well, and I don't want to say, it's difficult to, you don't want to sort of name drop, but I know that they've got Armour in there, but I think he's considered just the best 2-year-old. So there you go. But I know what you mean. It's a Gimcrack, and that's pretty obvious. So there you go. Anyway, carry on. Jonesy. Well, sorry.
You're a friend of the stars, so we take that. We're just happy that you still talk to us with all your famous mates. I agree with you on this instance. Lusail, I think, is head and shoulders. And interesting that you mentioned official ratings that I have no truck for, but £1 below Berkshire Shadow. I mean, these horses won't ever run in handicaps, but they're probably similar ability horses. And Lusail last time winning that July Stakes was very good because he travelled really well through the race and put it to bed in good style, showed a good attitude to hold off Asymmetric, who obviously went on to win at Goodwood. And Ebor River was further back, who went on to win the Group 1 in France. So in Ireland, the Phoenix Stakes. So the form is very, very solid. But this horse has got much more pace, in my opinion, than Berkshire Shadow. I think Berkshire Shadow was tried over 7 at Goodwood in the Vintage when second to Angel Blue. That's the kind of way they're thinking. And although he won the Coventry, he won it with a strong late burst, and the kind of uphill finish at Ascot helped him. This is a quick 6, and I just think it's made for Lusail and not made for Berkshire Shadow. I think Giss a Sub will run well for Kevin Ryan. That one was behind Asymmetric in the Richmond Stakes, but I didn't think that was really his form because that wasn't a very truly run race. And I think he's better than that. But Lusail, I'm with you, Tom. I think a lot of him.
Yeah, I think a lot of this runner in the Gimcrack. As do the yard. What do you think, DC?
I think it's hilarious you said that I don't want to name drop. But in terms of the horses,
can't win. It's just you're like a pack of hyenas, you two.
We are. You deserve every bit of it. I like Fearby. I like Fearby. Now, I think a few of you put him up in the Goodwood podcast, and he finished second to Armour. But Fearby only really got going in the last furlong in what was probably sticky ground, as I said there a while ago. Like the Lusail is obviously a very good horse. So is Berkshire Shadow, but like, are either of those yards in good form? Hannon is 5 from 69. No, I know that like 54 of those runners ran in the sales race today, or the early race, but like he actually just had a winner in Chepstow, but the yard aren't going well. I'd be kind of worried about that. And same with Andrew Balding. They don't seem to be firing too well. Fearby is progressive. Again, I thought it was quite high catching tomorrow. I think being on better ground in the step up and trip will stand to him. And again, he's a nice enough price. He's going to be about 6.0 or 7.2 there on the guide prices. I'm happy enough to take that win only.
Fearby for you. Yeah. In the Gimcrack. The 3 o'clock, that's us done with Friday, right? So it's time for best bets. And when Lusail absolutely pisses in, I'm going to be like a name drop who I like. Lusail is my best bet for Friday's action in the Gimcrack. And Steve Jones, your best bet is?
Who am I to disagree? It's Lusail.
Team Lusail. There you go. Deas.
Winter Power in the Nunthorpe.
Yeah, there you go. So we've got 2 horses across the 3 best bets for you. A couple of shouts for Lusail and in the Gimcrack, 1 for Winter Power in the Ebor. That's good, isn't it? In the Nunthorpe. The next race we're going to be doing is the Ebor. So a seamless link there. Right, prices. These are guide prices at the moment. You've got Live Your Dream is 8.0, Sunny Boy listed 9.0, Hamish 11.0, Ilarab 13.0, Josie's favourite horse, Mount Leinster 15.0, Fujera Prince 15.0, Miran 17.0, as is Quickthorn and Shanro. Those prices are correct at the time of this live broadcast, but keep an eye out for any changes. Josie, you can kick us off with the Sky Bet Ebor. Who do you fancy and why?
Another race with a million runners where none of them want to be up with the pace. I think this might be another Willie Mullins special. They seem to improve a bit for the British air when they come over. And Mount Leinster, I think, has clearly been laid out for this. It's got a very progressive profile from last season on the flat. Also shown a very good level of form over hurdles. The interesting thing with Mount Leinster, obviously hasn't run since last October, but if you look at his runs when he's fresh, coming back from a break, he won at Galway, the Galway Festival last year on the flat. He was coming back from a break when he was second to Easy Work at Gowran, who obviously Easy Work was a very, very high quality horse over hurdles. And also Mount Leinster won on very first start in a bumper. So it goes well fresh. We've seen it time and again with Willie Mullins bringing horses back from long breaks. There's no problem at all. And I think Mount Leinster will be able to just drop in behind the pace. He's drawn quite wide, but that's not a problem. And in many respects, I always prefer a higher draw than a lower draw over these sort of distances at York, because I think if you're drawn on the inside, you can sometimes think, I'll be 3 back on the rail. And as they all come over the top of you, you're suddenly 6 or 7 back on the rail. You don't see any daylight until you get into the straight, and you're just way too far back. Saying that, it's not easy usually in a well-run race to stay up with the pace at York, because I think they get racing quite early in the straight. But as I say, I don't think there's any pace in here. I'd be surprised if they went quick in this race. And I think that'll suit Mount Leinster. A 7-year-old we haven't seen the best of. It might have preferred a bit more rain, but the breeding suggests that decent ground will be fine, and Mount Leinster's run fine on decent ground in the past. So I would hope that he's got an exceptional chance.
Mount Leinster for you. In fact, most of us are sticking with Team Ireland, although Deasy's got one of the Brits. But Deasy, you take it away. But you're looking elsewhere other than Mount Leinster.
Yeah, and I've no reason to not think Mount Leinster will win either. Like he probably will. I'm maybe I'm trying to be a bit too clever here, but I've actually picked out 3 of them here now. One is kind of near the top of the betting, but the other 2 are bigger prices. So the first one I'm going to say is Merlan, Johnny Murtagh's horse. I know that you kind of fancy him as well. Now he has run 4 times this year, and has been. I would go so far as to say that his mark has been very well managed. He's owned by an Australian syndicate. I mean, the Melbourne Cup is the long-term goal, I think. But everything about him looks to me like that he has been laid out for this race. It's going to be his first real go, or sorry, his second go at 1 mile 6. His first goal was finishing second to Linwood Gold at the Curragh in an Ebor trial. He's been kept at the mark is still around 103. It's lovely to get in there. He's near the bottom of the weights. I can see him running a big race. Everyone is looking at the other horse, the other Johnny Murtagh horse, Sunny Boy listed, but I think Moran probably has better form coming into this, and I could see him going off even shorter than what he is. I can see the 2 of them being near the top of the betting, but I would pick Moran out of the 2 of them. The other Irish horse then I picked is Shanroe. He's trained by a man named Carl Thornton. Now, a lot of the UK viewers will probably have never heard of Carl Thornton, but he's a very shrewd trainer. He's based just north of Dublin, and he is very good at raids over to Scotland. He sends dual purpose. He'll send over flat horses and jumps horses. He wouldn't have a huge string now, but he is a decent strike rate. Now, he'd have a horse there called Shanroe LC. He's a good horse. Another horse called Aroma, and they'll win 2 or 3 times a season. Shanroe is a dual purpose horse as well. He ran in a few bumpers, and I remember Nicky Henderson actually mentioned him there one time in a stable tour, because he beat a horse of Nicky Henderson's called Keen On, and they bought Keen On, and they tried to buy Shanroe as well at the turn, and the trainer turned down Carl Thornton turned down the money, kept him. He's running great, top level maiden hurdles. He's finished 8, or he's won 8 of 18 races, and he's finished second a few times. He won in June. He beat Pondus in the Curragh. Now, he's getting a lot of weight that day, but he needed to win to get into the Ebor. So he's after sneaking in here at the bottom of the weights. I thought he'd be a much bigger price now, to be honest. I thought that he'd sneak in on the radar. I want to give him a chance, but he's there. I think he's about 21.0. Sorry, he's 17.0. I think that he has a great chance of a winning place. And the other one then I went for is Humanitarian, John Gosling's horse. Now, he hasn't run yet this season, but he finished off last season winning 0 to 105 handicap off top weight very, very easily. His pedigree is all stamina. They're all 1.5 mile horses. I think he's John Gosling's only runner on this as well. He just looks like a horse that is well handicapped. He's definitely ahead of his mark and should improve for as a 5-year-old. I mean, he ran in the Derby. He finished 7th behind Anthony Van Dyke. He ran in the King Edward, then in Alaska after that. Was gelded, was off for nearly a year, ran in Dewberry, won very easily, and he's back here again. I think he could be a nice sneaky one as well. And there has been a bit for money for him.
21.0 for Humanitarian, 17.0 for your other 2. And those are my two Dees, Moran and Shanro, and I got don't have much to add. I did want to look. I mean, I wanted to keep it Irish, to be honest, and I preferred Moran of Johnny Merters, who he's won this race before. Guaranteed that the trip was the main thing, and also I there is some rain knocking around, and I just if they hit a bit, because that would be a slight concern for Shanro, but I'm happy enough to have horses that perhaps don't want rattling quick ground, because there is some rain around on Saturday, definitely. Before certainly get to Ebor time, it should, I think, lightly rain during racing. So Moran and Shanro would be my two at 17.0. I've got a little else to add to what Deasy had to say. Right, that's a look at the Ebor. Off we go now to the Strensall Stakes. This is the 150 that kicks things off, and Real World is the horse who's right at the top of the betting. A pretty warm order as well. Incidentally, Real World was entered at the weekend in the Jacques Lemarrois. So that was a Group 1, but didn't go, and has now come onto this. And I thought that was interesting enough that they were willing to try him at that. He's currently at 2.25. My Oberon is a 3.3 shot. El Drama is 7.5, 12.0 for Lord Glitters, who's carrying about 15 stone. Got that Group 1 penalty. 13.0 Brunch, 17.0 for Duke of Hazzard, and Bellrock is 19.0. You can... Well, look, we're all Real World for all. Deasy's got another one. So, Jonesy, sort of make the case around Real World, and we can add to it as we please.
I was just looking at the race from the entries last night and trying to get him beat, because that's how I look at races a lot of the time, and I just can't get him beat. I thought he was very, very good in the Royal Hunt Cup when everyone said you couldn't win on the far side, and then he bolted up. And then last time at Newbury, he got it done over 10 furlongs. I was a little... The reason I wanted to take him on a little bit was because I thought this trip, I know it's nearly mile in one, at York, I thought would be sharp enough for him. But I just think he is by far the best horse in the race. And the other one that you could fancy, Lord Glitters, who's a great horse, he just needs a fast pace, and he's not going to get it. So I just think he's just head and shoulders, and I wouldn't be surprised if he went 1 point something rather than 2 point something during on the run up to the race.
Yeah, I just couldn't find anything to beat him, and the fact that, as I say, had that Group 1 entry, and now he's rocking out here. I think he's a very good horse who I wouldn't want this is the first race, so I hope there isn't too much rain before it, but I think he's a very fair price as well. So I don't have much to add to what about Real World, and I didn't want anything else on side him for the place market. You do though, Dees?
No, like you said, about Real World, I think he'll win. And the other one I like in the race is Brunch. I can see Brunch chasing him home. So if you want to back him in the without market or as a forecast, I think that he'd be a nice bet. Like he was second to Kinran over the course and distance in May. He was off favourite that day after a very good run in the Lincoln. He was seventh behind Real World at Ascot, but he was on the wrong side. But again, he ran a fine race, and I thought he won very well last time. At Pontefract beating Roscollon. I think he came from the rear and just he was going away from at the end. And Roscollon is he's rated 104, and he's probably the top of his mark. But I can see Brunch getting past a few of these. I think that my O'Brien, if the ground is good, it mightn't suit him. El Drama, Roger Verna, I don't think they're in good form. Bellrock the same, and Lord Glitters has too much weight. So I just think Brunch could be a sneaky one to pick up the pieces behind him and finish second.
Do you want to add anything to Real World?
No.
Good.
Said that. Very good horse. We were all in the Rab the last time, and he absolutely smashed him up. So very impressive.
Yeah, I hear they think a lot of him. Jonesy, what did you want to ask?
No, it's just having heard what Dees has for breakfast, I'd like to hear what he has for brunch. Heineken. Is it the next can in the 4-pack?
It's generally a poached egg with some avocado and some chili flakes on it on a bagel.
Good choice. Good choice.
Oh man, that's impressive. Yeah, you look like that kind of guy. We had a big debate actually on Racing TV yesterday morning. What was better, Scotch egg or pork pie? And pork pie was the winner. I'm sure you'll all agree. Good. Let's move on to the Melrose. This is tough. 225, and right at the top of the betting is William Haggis's Dushan, 7 points. It's 7.0 at the field, 11.0 King of the Castle, as is Summer's Night, 12.0 Mashawa, then 13.0 Imperial Sun, Surrey Gold, Marshall Plan, Parachute, True Courage, and that's as far down as I'm going. Deasy, straight back to you. Who are you? How strong are you on your selection?
Not strong at all. This is my my least confident pick of the week, and I just going to go for it. My pick is Marshall Plan, John Goslin's horse. Sticking with John Goslin again. I just thought his last run was at Newcastle in the Racing League, and he was very well back for it. He went off at 2.5. Again, he was just closing at the end. Now he finished third by just half a length, but he was only getting going. He was only starting to get into the race. I think another 2 furlongs would suit him. Again, I think this is only his 6th run, so there's a bit of progression there. He's a good Godolphin horse. They have previous in this race, and I think that he's got a fine draw. John Gosling is doing well this week. I think his horses are in good form. There was another few I'd looked at in this, but I think he was the only one I thought could progress and was a solid one that I put money on. So I'm going to stick with him. Small win in the place.
At 15.0 for Marshall Plan, small win and place. Level stakes, win and place market, Dees?
Yeah, probably, yeah, but like minimum win, minimum place.
Jonesy?
This is my kind of race.
DC is brimming with confidence. Go on, Jonesy.
This is my kind of race. There's good pace in here. There's a lot of these that like to go forward. So if she gets a decently run race, the likes of, I think, Parachute and Golden Flame are among those who like to go forward. Maybe Oman as well. Oman from the widest stall. So I thought that he would have to go forward from 22. So there's going to be a good pace, and that will help a horse that I fancy. And I mentioned with the Ebor, when you get a decent pace over this course and distance, it's not easy to stay up with the pace. It suits horses coming from off the pace. And one of those, I'm hoping, will be Surrey Gold, who absolutely bolted up over 1 mile and 3 at Newbury. That was back in May. Won by 7 lengths. Now, the handicapper walloped him for that. That's not a problem because I think this is a very good horse. I think he was just very well handicapped. And last time at Ascot, people are putting a line through Surrey Gold because he was a long way in terms of position in the race behind Dushan, who's favourite for the Melrose, because Dushan was second at Ascot when Surrey Gold was 8th of 9. But the thing is, they were both towards the rear, but Dushan's got more pace than Surrey Gold. Surrey Gold just couldn't get into it because didn't have the pace. It was a slow run race, and being at the back was no good. Surrey Gold also challenged out wide, which I didn't think you wanted to be that day. Probably don't want to be there any day at Ascot. And Dushan went up the inside. So not only did he lose ground, I thought he was on the slower ground. And he was only three lengths behind the winner, 2.5 behind Dushan, and closing all the time. He is going to love the step up to 1 mile and 6. He's going to love the fast pace. He's related to a horse that was a group winner, I think, or a listed winner over 1 mile and 7 in France. I've looked at him to see whether the faster ground is going to be a problem because most of his form is on easy ground. But he's a golden horn, and they generally do 2 things, like fast ground and stay well. And if that's the case, and if it does rain, I mean, you're on top of the weather forecast. I didn't see a lot of rain, but I never think that York gets really quick because it's on a bog, basically, the Knavesmire. I don't think that the ground actually gets really hard, firm like some places. And I just think this horse has got huge amounts going for him. And then we talk about stable form, and Hughie Morrison is in red hot form. he has had 7 winners from 18 runners so far this month.
And rather boringly, I'm backing both horses from that contest, Dushan and Surrey Gold. And Surrey Gold, after he won at Newbury a few starts ago, the trainer said after the race that he could well be a lively candidate for this. And then I just thought last time it was a bit of an obvious take him off since May, bring him back in July, give him a prep spin for a Melrose. That seemed obvious. But having watched the race last time, it just seemed completely obvious that both the horses, and I take the point that Surrey Gold's a much bigger price, but I think Dushan should be a good deal shorter. They weren't suited by the running of the race, and they should be suited by this. Lots of pace on, patiently ridden here. They're 2 of 10 I could easily have backed, to be honest, but those were the 2 that leapt out to me, Surrey Gold and Dushan. And certainly for Surrey Gold, I'm hoping. I was a bit concerned about the ground, but I think, like I say, I think the sting should be taken out of it. I mean, the people in the know at York are expecting rain on Saturday during racing. They weren't necessarily before today, but the clerk of the course said this morning that she was, pretty confident that there is rain in the forecast now to come in early afternoon. So I think that should be a good thing for Surrey Gold, and it should be okay for Dushan as well. That's our look at the Melrose. Jonesy's most confident of the lot of us, definitely. We move on to the City of York Stakes, where Space Blues is 2.0, Primo Bacio is 3.0, Safe Voyage 9.0, Glorious Journey and Sabuska are 12.0, 15.0 for Pogo, 26 Highfield Princess, 34 Lord of the Lodge, and 5,000 to 1, who looked like he's going to be a good horse at one stage, is 51.0. Straight back at you, Dees. What do you think and why?
I gave a tip to my father-in-law for 5,000 Monday last year. I was like, he think he's overpriced, and got a phone call about 5 minutes after the race saying he should have been 5,000 to 1, the donkey.
Do you get on with your father-in-law, Dee?
I do, yeah. He rings me about 7 or 8 times a day asking me what do I think of this horse, and they're usually tipped in the mirror as well, but never by you, Jonesy. Yeah, he's a gas case. So this is my kind of race. 9 runners, sharp price favourite, lovely dirty each way race, and the one I'm going for is Sir Busker, who has been unlucky this season. Was desperately unlucky the last time, but he has been running at the top level this year. Now he's been around a long time. He was always a decent handicapper, but he's been really having to go off it this year. He was 2.5 lengths behind Palace Pier. He found that race behind Tilsit was, but the Summer Wild was a bit beyond them. And again, he was beaten by Micheál last time, but he was giving him loads of weight. But they finished ahead of Parata, Solid Stone, things like that. I think the drop to 7 might be the making of him. I think if Space Blues was in top form and going to win this race, he would already be 1.8 or 1.7 or something. I think he's probably the class horse in the race, but he hasn't been smashed up in the betting yet, so that gives me a bit of hope that he all might be at 100% yet. Glorious Journey doesn't really win anywhere except Newmarket. Safe Voyage has been 8 years old. Like, there mightn't be too much left in the tank there. Primo Bacio is the one that I'm probably overlooking, but I just think at the price, or Busker is a cracking winning place betting this small win. But I probably go 3/4 place. I could see him hitting the frame definitely over 7 here.
Okay, that is, let me confirm the price for you. Is 12.0. Win and place level stakes?
Probably a quarter win and 3/4 place.
Quarter win, 3/4 place. I'm going to go first here, Jonesy, because we agree again and people think I'm just copying you. So I think Space Blues is just so far and away the best of these. I think it's just got obvious excuses. The thing is, he can't be much shorter than he is, really, based upon the fact that he was beat on his last 2 starts. And he was beaten last time at Goodwood in a race he'd won before. But that was on his reappearance. And, the ground was a big worry for Connections going into it. And, it was testing ground, and that's not what he wants. And he also would have wanted a sterner test at the trip. Maydan over 6 is not his bag, even though he was very disappointing. What he wants is 7 furlongs, and I think a sort of genuine galloping 7, which you'll get here. And if the rain does come, I'm not too worried, as long as it's not going to be soft ground. Just might take some of the sting out of it. He's won on good to soft before. He won at Longchamp on good to soft, so that's not a concern. I just don't see which way he gets beat here. I don't think the others are. I don't think that, if he is 100%, I've got no reason to doubt he is, because there are obvious excuses for his last 2 starts. I think he'll go and win. Jonesy, what do you want to add?
I'm quite interested in what Dees had to say there, actually, because the problem with Subuska is he was brilliant in big field handicaps where they go really quick and he can just cruise into it and then use his class. Now, I don't doubt at all that he's up to group class level, but in this race on Saturday is 7 furlongs, Safe Voyage, Lord of the Lodge, Highfield Princess. They all like to make the running, so it might be a rare occasion when Subuska gets a pace to run at. I think that's quite a good price, but the way I looked at this race was a rhetorical question: who's the best 7 furlong horse in the country? By miles, Space Blues. So that's who I'm going for. But I like Deasy's argument. I thought that was interesting at that sort of price. 12.0 is too big for Subuska.
You wait. Do you know what's going up on Value Rater? I guarantee it. Value Rater. My selection, Subuska has won on my Value Rater column. Disgrace. You wait. He'll be bleating about it all over Twitter.
Yeah. Just revolute me a few quids, Jonesy, and we'll say no more about it, okay?
Well, I'll drop you as much as Tom drops all his connections, mates.
I was going to say, you know what? Because you two are such whatevers. I was going to say that I watched the Space Blues race next to Charlie Appleby, and he was like, but I can't win. But I did. And he was saying about he was always worried about the ground. He said he'd take a step forward for it. He really didn't. He just so uneasy in the market. He didn't expect him to win. And yeah, so there you go. Got nothing else to say. Right, we done. So best bets. Let's do it. Best bets. What have we got? Micheál, Deasy, your best bet for Saturday.
I'm playing it very safe. I'm just going to stick with Real World. No, he's a sharp price, but he'll definitely win. Real World in the Strensall. Steve Jones, your best bet.
Subuska. Oh no. What was it? Mount Leinster. I'm trying to think of that gag. I've forgotten what it was. It's Mount Leinster and the Ebor, but I do like Surrey Gold in the Melrose as well, and strong on both of them. Okay, there you go. Get the double up. Do that in Mathbook. Mine is Space Blues in the City of York. We are done. Thank you very much for watching. If you are unsure of exactly who we put up, or you need a reminder, just go to insights.matchbook.com. There will be a page each day with all of our selections and a little bit about why on there for you. Give us a thumbs up if you're on YouTube and you like what we do, and on your preferred podcast app, leave us a review. Tell us what you like, or if we could do anything better. It would be much appreciated. Steve, thank you. Micheál, Deasy, thank you very much. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.